Okay, this is now tarot lesson number 62, and it's late because it turns out that this weekend was Thanksgiving here, and I didn't know, so I was all set to record on Sunday, but I had to go and socialise, so I'm late. However, today is mainly about the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Swords that Chloe... These two cards fell out while she was shuffling, and we'll deal with that because she wasn't quite sure what they meant. So a couple of people, Stefan Neuhauser and Sophie Sings, left a couple of comments, and I'll look at them. But first I want to talk a little bit about the fact that we have to remember that we all have our own people. So if you go to a room with 50 people and you talk to everybody, let's say it's a business meeting and you have to hand out business cards, and you give a card to everybody. Most of the people, you're just going to give them the card and that's it, and there will only be a few people that you actually make a connection with, or you feel connected to, or they feel connected with you. And that's what I mean by you've got your people. And so when we get to Stefan's point and Sophie's point, what they say would make sense to their people who came, or the people who came to them for readings, even though what they say I probably wouldn't have thought of, because I've got different types of people in my life. So one way of looking at it is this, is a horoscope. And this is the first house, and this is the seventh, right? So this is the ascent, this is the self, and this is other people. So at the moment, the sun is about 17 degrees of Libra. So this is sunrise, noon, sunset, and midnight. So when this, let's imagine somebody born today at sunrise. So the sun's over here, the sun's in Libra. So they have Libra rising, sunrise, Libra, the sign where the sun is, rising. That would put Aries, the sign of the child, on the seventh house cusp. So somebody born at sunrise today would have Aries type people in their life. So they would be childish as well as childlike, and all that goes with that. And there's more because there may be planets here in the seventh house, and Mars that rules Aries would be in a particular position, and that would give them different types of childish people or childlike people. Then as the sun progresses through the day, it goes up to here to the sun at noon, but the zodiac keeps moving around. So when the sun's at midday, you would have, let's say, Capricorn here, which puts Cancer on the seventh house cusp. So somebody born at midday today would have, let's say, it depends on where how far north and south of the equator you're born. But if the sun is up here in Libra and you've got Cancer down here, you're dealing with a different type of person. Because here with the Libra rising's got Aries in the seventh house cusp, and they'll tend to see other people as children, which is good and bad. But whereas the person with Capricorn rising and Cancer over here, we tend to see would want to mother other people because Cancer's the young mother. Then when the sun goes down at sunset, if the sun's in Libra, you've got Aries over here. So they would have Aries rising, so they would be childlike, and they would see other people as bossy, because Libra is the general, and Libra's bossy, and Libra's indecisive, so they would see other people as being indecisive. So it can mean that if you've got a card, the answer to a question, and the Ten of Pentacles comes up, you may find that you tend, if you've got what's that, Aries rising and Libra over here, you may find that you tend to talk to other people about finding balance, or about learning to get along with people, because you've got Libra on the seventh house cusp. So you would give different types of, not advice, but you would take a different type of interpretation from the same card based on what you've got happening over here. And then at midnight, the sun is down here in Libra, and you would have I'm sorry. I'm mixed up here, but with Libra you'd have Capricorn. Would it be Libra? No, Cancer rising. So that bit's Capricorn on the 7th. I wasn't confused. So here you've got Cancer rising and Capricorn on the 7th. So you would tend to have older people, because Saturn rules old age. So you would have older, more mature, responsible types of people coming into your life. And so the maybe with this same Ten of Pentacles card coming up, you would want to emphasize, or you would find that you automatically emphasize the stability of the card, because the old man is here. He's proved that he can do what he says he's going to do, or he has been successful with his business, and he's got a history behind him because he's old or older. So I think it's important to remember that there's what the card means or what it shows, but there's also the kind of person who comes into your life, the kind of person, the kind of information you would give them that would make sense to them, to that particular individual, whereas it may not make that much sense to a questioner who goes to another reader. So Phoebe, was it Phoebe? Phoebe, not Chloe, sorry. Phoebe said that she was doing a reading for a friend, and the person wanted to know what the rest of the year looked like financially. And when she was shuffling, 2 cards fell out. And it happened to be the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Swords, and she wasn't sure what they meant. So I think when you're shuffling, pay attention to what you're thinking at the time that you're shuffling, because sometimes let's say somebody wants to know, am I going to meet somebody? And I'm shuffling and I find myself thinking, I wonder if they're going to meet somebody. And let's say a card falls out, and it's a court card, for instance, the Queen of Cups. And I think that's like the answer to the question that I was thinking, the silent question I was thinking at the moment that the card fell out. Somebody who is like the Queen of Cups. Whereas if I'd been shuffling and thinking, I wonder what their past relationship was like, and a card fell out, okay, and I turn it over and I get the Tower, I think it's answering the question about what their last or what their previous relationships were like. And so I think it's important to pay attention to what you're thinking while you're shuffling, because the card that pops out can be the answer to the question that you were thinking. So what was Phoebe thinking at the time that the cards fell out? Was she thinking about the question, or was she thinking about something else? And I don't know. But so also, you know that when I pick a card, I'm very particular about, if that's the card, I turn it from top to bottom, and that's the card, and that's up. This happens to be the 6 of Swords upside down. But when cards fall out, I think what do you do? They don't. Do you turn them this way, or do you turn them that way? What do you do? And I think what you do is you just act automatically. Don't think about it, but just. I imagine that the cards were picked up this way. We've got the Queen of Swords on top of the Knight of Swords, because the reader could have picked, could have seen 2 cards face down and taken this one, and you've got the Knight of Swords first, then the Queen of Swords, which is telling a different story from the Queen of Swords on top of the Knight of Swords, because here the Queen controls the Knight. Stability and common sense controls urgency and rushing. Whereas if we've got these two cards like that, and you take the top card first, maybe you're thinking, okay, the first inclination is to rush, and to do reckless things, maybe when it comes to money. So you quit your job thinking you're going to get a better one, which is kind of reckless, because they say that it's easier to get a job if you already have one. But the person may think, no, I'm going to quit. I'm going to make my fortune elsewhere. And the Queen of Swords, the following card, can mean that maybe they wish they had been more mature or more sensible about making that decision. But the other thing is, if you look at here, maybe you take this card and you put it there, and you put the Queen there and that there, because Sophie mentions that the two cards are looking at each other. The Knight and the Queen are looking at each other. So maybe there's a conversation or a disagreement about, do you rush and take chances, or are you sensible and down to earth and realistic? And that can be what the challenge facing the questioner when it comes to financial matters over the until the end of the year. But maybe what you do is you get these two cards and you put first one here and then this one here. So the Queen and the Knight are looking in opposite directions. So maybe it's the same idea that this is rushing and this is being sensible and slow, but they're not in agreement. They're not looking at each other. They can't see the other point of view, but they're kind of determined to have their own way. So this could be an indication that the questioner is going to either be reckless or be sensible, and there's no meeting ground between the two points of view. I've got some notes over here, how to turn cards. Okay, so what came up for how will the finances be over to the end of the year, and we've got a Queen and a Knight. So maybe we've got two people. So it could be that the financial fortune of the questioner is in the hands of the Queen of Swords, and you described this would be an older woman, probably, maybe businesslike, maybe the questioner's mother. Whereas the second card, the Knight of Swords, can be a friend who is more adventurous or more dynamic and wants to take chances. So maybe the idea is that the mother or one older influence says, if you need more money, get a part-time job doing something decent. Whereas this one, the Knight of Swords, says, if you want more money, let's go for broke and go to a casino and gamble and make our fortune that way. A different kind of way of looking at building finances. So these two cards, again, I think with Phoebe, I don't know if I can give you any answers, but the cards fell out partway through the reading, so we don't really have to be specific, I think, about what these two cards mean. And I'm giving you a bunch of ideas about what you might think about. So the Queen and the Knight could be two different people involved in the questioner's financial future. But two conditions. I can't understand what I wrote here. I wanted to make a point about the fact that it's swords and swords. So it's a bit like, and I thought it can be that I don't know what the questioner does for a living, or if she is already employed or has a career or has a job. But I was thinking, if she's in I thought marketing, only because if this is marketing, this is a similar kind of activity involved with marketing. So maybe this is a marketing and this is design, so that she becomes more involved with design projects throughout as the year progresses, right? Because it's the same suit. It's not so much, so if she's going to get, if this is the full-time job and this is the part-time job, then if she stays with the full-time job, but the Knight of Swords isn't If this is marketing, this is not getting a job as a cleaner or getting a job in McDonald's or fast food, because marketing is not about fast food and not about cleaning. But because the suit is the same, I think you're looking for some kind of extension of the main job into something else, something related, or rather than something totally different or very different from the main job that the person has. Stefan talked about swords maybe there's a certain amount of worry involved with the questioner as well, because it's swords. And he makes the point that people are often concerned about the future. And maybe they imagine worse happening than will actually come about. But he thought it was sensible that maybe the person gets some advice from a financial professional. That can be one way of dealing with the Queen and the Knight of Swords, if you include worry with the suit of swords. So if the questioner isn't sure about what to do, consult somebody who has good ideas about what to do. And the last point I wanted to make was, if you're not sure about what to do or what to say about a card, look at it and say to yourself, am I happy that this card is here? And if you are happy, explain why. And if you're not happy, explain why not. So the question is, what's the questioner's finances going to be like to the end of the year? With the Queen of Swords, am I happy? Yes, because she, the questioner, is a woman. She's in charge. Queens run things. She is going to be in charge of her own financial fortune between now and the end of the year, which can mean maybe that she's going, if she's got the chance to get a promotion, because queens run things, go for it and she'll get it. And then we've also got the Knight of Swords. So maybe that means she will do well because the card is upright. I'm happy because she is going to be energetic and dynamic and adventurous and motivated to make money or to improve her financial situation between now and the end of the year. So I'm happy that with the Knight of Swords here, we've got stability as well as energy. And that those two together would mean that she could have a job and really go places with it, or she would bring new energy and new ideas to maybe something that's old-fashioned or something that's been around for a long time. So if she has revolutionary ideas or ideas that would bring about an improvement in her workplace, then present them, and that will be beneficial for her. Because maybe what she does is there's some kind of practice in, let's say she works in an office and they need another photocopier and they haven't got one, or they need another printer. And in order to get a printer, they've got to go to the other side of the office or the other side of the building to get the pages that they wanted to print. And so she does a time and motion study of how much time is wasted by staff members going to the other side of the building to get a printed page. And whereas spend $200 and you get a nice printer for these 4 people in this corner of the office, and think of the amount of money that you saved. That kind of thing where you take something that's traditional and old-fashioned maybe, and you bring in some new thinking. So her finances but if assuming that that's the actual question that was being thought about when the cards fell out, she's in control of her finances between now and the end of the year, whatever that might mean to her. So it can mean that if she looks for extra income, she'll find it. If she looks for promotion, extra income in the sense of a second job or another kind of source of income, is going to work and she'll find it. But the Queen could also represent a promoted position that she would be able to handle. Okay, next time, unless I hear differently, I'm going to talk about the Devil card, because I've got something that you probably haven't seen before. So today's Monday, late Monday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm back at the weekend. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.